Hey, it's Gentle K, your tech guide. Today, let's break down what that padlock icon in your browser's address bar actually protects, and why mixing up HTTP and HTTPS can leave your passwords exposed. Let's get into it. That padlock icon in your browser's address bar, you see it every single day, but have you ever actually stopped to figure out what it's protecting? Some pages show that padlock. Others just show a not secure warning instead, and you can never quite tell if that's something to worry about or something you can just ignore. There's a real story where someone's password leaked out because of exactly this. I'll get to that one at the end. Before we get into any of that, here's exactly what you'll walk away with by the end of this video. This video gives you exactly two things. First, what actually makes HTTP and HTTPS different. Second, when that not secure warning is something you should really pay attention to. So first, let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Before we get into the difference itself, let's start with the situation that makes this so confusing in the first place. Every time you type something into the internet and send it off, logging in, checking out, searching, it doesn't go straight to where it's headed. It passes through a bunch of stuff along the way. Different servers, routers, all kinds of things sitting in between. And what decides who's able to actually see that content along the way? That comes down to one thing, whether it's HTTP or HTTPS. But that one letter isn't just a label. It changes the entire way your data gets sent. Let's give this difference an actual name. These two ways have names, HTTP and HTTPS. Here's what that S means. Put simply, it stands for secure, in other words, encrypted. HTTP sends your content exactly as it is, so anyone along the way can just read it. HTTPS seals your content up in code first. Encryption just means scrambling something in an agreed way so that without the key, nobody can make sense of it. So even if someone in the middle looks at it, they can't tell what it says. Here's the flow. You type in your login details and hit send. With HTTP, whoever's sitting at a stop along the way can see that content plainly. With HTTPS, it gets encrypted, so anyone in the middle only sees meaningless noise. And it only turns back into readable content once it reaches the real destination. Now that padlock icon actually makes sense. It's just showing you that this page is currently encrypted with HTTPS. Once that clicks, let's make it stick with an object everyone already knows. Now that the difference is clear, let's lock it in with something you've probably held in your own hands. Picture a postcard and a sealed envelope. A postcard has the words sitting right there on the surface, so a mail carrier or anyone else can just read it while it's being delivered. That's HTTP. But a letter sealed up inside an envelope is different. Nobody can see what's written inside unless they actually tear that envelope open. That's HTTPS. Now imagine sending that content through a few different post offices along the way. Send it as a postcard, and at every post office it passes through, a worker there could just read it. Send it as a sealed letter, and no matter which post office it goes through, the envelope stays sealed the whole way, and it only gets opened once it reaches the real recipient. Let's look at two real scenes. 1. You get AI to spin up a sign-up form real quick, and you don't notice the address starts with HTTP before shipping it. What happens is people's login passwords end up going back and forth with zero encryption while the whole thing is live. 2. In a meeting, someone points at an old internal company tool and goes, "Wait, this is HTTP." And you need to be able to judge if this page collects login info, that's actually worth flagging. So here's how this actually plays out when you're building something real and when you actually need to start caring. Here's when this starts to matter. Any page with a login, a checkout, or personal information going in. There's a trade-off worth knowing here too. Setting up HTTPS used to be a hassle and it used to cost money. These days, with free certificates like Let's Encrypt, you can add it with almost no cost and almost no effort. So honestly, there's barely a reason not to. Quick note on what a certificate actually is. It's basically a document proving that this site really is who it says it is, and that it's actually encrypting the connection. That's all you need to know for now. Remember that incident I promised you earlier? Here's exactly where it comes from. A lot of teams build on HTTP during testing. That part's normal. But if you ship it straight to production like that, with no certificate set up, what happens is login information ends up going back and forth with zero encryption while it's live. This kind of thing actually happens. That missing padlock was never just a missing decoration. So how does this play out inside an actual company right before something ships? Here's one quick exchange to show you.
I just opened the login page, and there's no padlock. It says, "Not secure."
Oh, let me check that. Sounds like the HTTPS certificate hasn't been set up yet.
Is this okay to just ship anyway, or do we need to block it?
If there's a login form on it, we need to block it. Over HTTP, passwords go back and forth with zero encryption.
Then we definitely need to fix this before it ships.
Yeah, adding the certificate is quick. I'll get it done today.
All right, we've gone through a lot here, so let's bring the key ideas together before we wrap up. Here's what to remember. HTTP sends your content exactly as it is, so anyone along the way can read it. HTTPS seals it up in code so nobody in the middle can see what it says. That padlock icon on a login or checkout page isn't decoration. It's an actual line of defense. And that's everything for today. I hope this one helped. If it did, I'll see you in the next one. That's it from Gentle K. Thanks for watching, and remember, just start. It's easier than you think.